All right, we back with another video. We're going to be talking about the video from a couple days ago where we outlined, so go check that one out. And we outlined the different flows between United Airlines and Lucid and why Lucid was just a better play overall because of the reading that we got from the flow. Just the number of contracts, the number of the amount of premium, the amount of size that was involved with Lucid gave it a lot more momentum and staying power, and we definitely saw that happening today. So that was a read from Friday. Both plays worked, but the United Airlines one, what I noticed early on was, here's the open. What I noticed early on was that it just felt weak. The premiums, I basically was in calls because of the read that I got from the flow, and there was profit to be made if I sold it right away. I was up a good 20% or so on the call, but I could tell that the thing wasn't going to keep running, so I ended up getting it out about break even, pretty much break even, right on. And you can tell what happened is it just faded the rest of the day. Wasn't a lot of staying power there. So what I was looking at in the flow, and here's what we saw on the 5th, when we saw these 54s being bought, and that was really all we saw. It wasn't a ton of premium, just someone had been buying these 54s at a cheap price, pretty good deal. And I think what happened was, they got paid at the open, they closed it out, and nobody else came back in to buy any more flow here. There was some buying going on here. That happened at about 10:30, so they got in. Someone tried to buy the dip here, and then they got smashed. So only one whale, 30,000 plus, was willing to jump into that play. The other play was Lucid, and the reason this one was interesting was because the flow on Lucid for Friday was just so much more. I mean, this is just the 30,000 plus flow for today, going all the way down here. And I've got this set for 250 orders, basically, to be shown on one page. So I can't even, this is more than 250 orders. And so we're going to go look at the chart of Lucid, which was obviously extremely better. I mean, the reason this was way better is because you've got multiple opportunities to cash your calls out with Lucid as of today, just in one day, and that's because the flow was just way stronger as far as at least having premium in the market in the calls. And so go back and look at that video where we look at the flow from Friday. We analyzed that flow, analyzed the United Airlines. Both of them worked, but one of them worked way better, and that's because the flow was way stronger. Okay, so moving on. That was a quick intro to that. What I wanted to talk about was how to find good plays really, really easy. Okay, and one of them is using stock twits. A lot of you probably do this. If you don't, I definitely recommend having a stock twits account of some sort. But it's really nice because it's going to give you a quick indication of what I would say what retail traders are into, and basically what FinTwit is into. And it's going to give you this nice most active list here, the top 10 most active tickers. Even it does cryptocurrencies. Basically, you can look at it and say, okay, what are people talking about the most? You can see the price changes. So a lot of these tickers that show up here will actually have a really good price appreciation. Sometimes they'll still be here after the play is over. So I like to look at this and see what's new. Like this PPSI is pretty new. BBIG, it showed up again. It didn't really have a huge day, but it's up there. So I kind of like looking into that one because that's new to the top 10 and it hasn't really run yet. So figure out what's going on there. Then you got the trending. So here's what's trending right now on StockTwits. Very interesting. PayPal just had earnings. AMC just had earnings. AMC a lot of times is at the top most of the time. In the last, I would say 4 months, I've only seen it off the top 10 a couple days, maybe a week. They just had earnings. Clove was running. ATR had earnings. PLTR has earnings in the morning. ETC is running because ETH and Bitcoin. So, I mean, you can see there's a lot of reasons why these tickers are trending And then you can see which has an increase in watchers over the last 24 hours. Then you got this nice little heat map that you can kind of see over the last 6 hours, 1 hour. So I like this. I like to look at this list, and then with a confluence with the unusual whales hot chains list as well. Hot chains and tickers. So you go to hot chains and tickers, and then you go get rid of the index funds, and you can kind of see which chains and tickers for the day were basically the hottest. Okay, so you don't need to go too far. You can see that Ford was ripping. Ford had a really good day. They ended up closing 20 plus. So you can see that chain right there, that strike for the 11, 12, 20s and 2050s were really hot. Lucid was really hot, 45s and 50s. Makes sense if we look at Lucid. 45s and 50s are probably your most likely strikes to be hit. You got Apple 152.50. This one was interesting to me, given that Apple, I don't think, really even ran today. And they were buying these. So it's something I want to look into. Like, okay, why is the flow divergent here? They're buying the calls for Friday, and the stock really didn't do much. So interesting there that the price was divergent. So we might be looking into puts if there is a lot of put flow, or there just wasn't enough call flow to lift the stock. Then AMD, obviously AMD had an amazing day because of the Facebook partnership that hit somewhere around like this 10 o'clock area, and a lot of money was made here on this rip higher. And if you were quick enough to learn about the news and then be able to get into a decent strike at a decent price. So you can see that the 160s, 155s, and I'm watching the flow all day long, and these strikes were just getting hammered all day. So you can see why they're at the top of the list. But you can coincide that with maybe this list and see, okay, we got Lucid. So we had a Lucid strike, a couple Lucid strikes that showed up here. Is there anything that piques your interest that might be showing up on the hot chain? We got the 12 call for Tilray. And so I like to look at all that. And then also during the day, I like to watch the trending feed for this. And during the day, it's not always crypto, but at night it turns into basically just like a crypto feed. But you'll see some stock information here. But this is actually a really good source for news and plays, because you're going to have thousands of other traders that are posting their plays, posting their thoughts on here, and you can get some really good ideas from it. So I like using stock twits. I like using unusual whales in conjunction with each other, just to kind of it's kind of like a scanner for me in a way, just to kind of look for some plays. Obviously, we got the live flow coming through that you can watch as well, and this is where I spend most of my time. Most of my screen time, actually, I was not looking at the chart, but really just looking at this flow and analyzing the plays that are coming through and seeing if they're good. So anyways, hopefully this helps you find some plays. If you don't use stock twits, I would highly recommend it. If you don't use unusual whales, I wouldn't even, from here on, I would never trade without watching option flow anymore. It's just not even fair. So hopefully you like this. Subscribe, comment, and we'll see you next time. Peace.